Hi, I'm Shaun, and welcome to my art show. Yes! Brushing up with Shaun. Let's paint this. I'm gonna go ahead and work in this corner here, just because I have an idea of what I want to do. So I'm putting some plain blue on my plate, and I'm kind of doing this side to side, back and forth motion, almost in a diagonal motion though. So as you can see, I've kind of got a diagonal thing going here. I want to kind of get that flow going on this painting first, so have that kind of like motion going there. Let's see what comes out of it at the, like I said, at the end. But I'm just using plain blue right now, and I'm just kind of feathering it off as I come right to about here in this stage of my painting. I'm taking the paint as far as I can go without putting any more on my brush and letting it kind of start to dry off. All right, so let's see what else we can do. I'm just still working with this blue. Again, this is just pure improv. And let's see what we can come up with. All right. I want to kind of just feather it off at the end here. And I want to, just because I'm trying to make this look a little bit more natural, like happening in like in nature and outside. So that's why I'm trying to just kind of add some little bit of mistakes there, just some stuff kind of maybe tapering off, no big deal. And then what I want to do is just lighten it up. So on the edges and around, I'm going to put some plain white on that same brush that has blue. And I'm just going to go ahead and just lighten it up. What I mean by that is I'm just kind of doing that same motion, but adding a little bit of white, just a tiny, tiny bit, and softening these edges. So that way when we decide to add some major color, eventually some other contrasting colors, it won't, affect it too much. It'll look like it's just, again, happening in nature. What's that starting to look like right there? Kind of almost looks like a sky. And that's exactly what I'm thinking, what I can do with this painting here. So, and these look like little clouds maybe tapering in to this a little bit. And before we get ahead of ourselves, we'll do some different steps here, but again, I just want to just play around with this a little bit and just see what I can conjure up. And bring some of this light blue down. Again, tapering it off, and you can hear my brush getting dried off. So I'm just trying to just start off in this corner, kind of almost diagonal. You can even, patch things up, fix things, whatever you'd like. But that's that step, and we're gonna add a cool step coming up here in just a moment. Now for this little step right here, it's a fun one. We've done it on a few shows. So I've got my blue and my white. I've got a smaller brush here, more of a medium size. It's flat. But what I'm doing is I'm going to pre-dip some water actually into this paint, making it kind of runny, like a watery white. And I'm going to add some stars by doing this to our painting. I'm just putting that on there. And then I'm going to stay about I'd say about 3 inches away from your canvas, and just start flicking your brush, your bristles, and making these tiny, tiny little stars. All right, we're making kind of like a small dusting right now of some atmosphere and things happening in the background before we move on, because again, you want to work with your furthest thing back and move forward. Oop, you can see there's a big cluster. Whoa, there's another one. Don't worry, if there's a big cluster, we can overcome those things and make it work. So don't worry about that. And there we go. That's what's so fun about this, is you can get so creative, and it makes it quite a difference on each one. All right, let's see if we can get a few more cool looking stars. And you can move your brush around and mess around with this and play around doing your galaxies or your whatever you've got. Now what I want to do is take a smaller brush, and I'm going to go ahead and just gather up some of that really wet down paint, that white paint, and I'm just going to add some little areas, you know, where there's maybe some brighter stars, maybe some little circles, tiny little circles in this. And we can kind of make them somewhat symmetrical, like there's a little bit of a pattern. You still want to keep that look that they're happening at random, and it will eventually over time. You'll see that as we go along with this painting. But look at, I'm just adding this, you know, and it turns almost like a light blue, and it should, because we're adding this light see-through white right to our painting. So you can see we've got some cool looking stars right there. And then all you do is you actually just take your small brush and add some plain white, not watered down, and you can add a nice little sparkle right in the middle of those circles, just very tiny, very small. But it looks like those are actually glowing now because we added that first little circle kind of going through it. So that is what's so cool about the step, is it just gives the illusion like there's actually some cool stars glowing in that back atmosphere. Now that my stars are pretty much done in the back for now, I'm going to go ahead and add a new color to my plate, plain red. So we've got red, white, and blue all together now. It's awesome. So I'm going to go ahead, I've got my flat brush again, and I'm going to go ahead and put just a little bit of red on there. And what I'm going to do now is kind of add some streaks of sunset. It almost looks like there's a cloud separation here now happening. So I'm going to go ahead and add some streaks of sunset, just coming in, and I'm going to separate them. I'm going to separate these streaks here so it starts to look a little patriotic, all right, but is also adding some realism, okay? I'm adding realism by not connecting everything. Now leave some of this open area white, okay? We'll need that for later, but you can eventually, we can add more glowing red over here and white in this awesome painting. Okay, now but look at some of that separation now. I made some smaller clouds and I'm making some larger ones. It gives that illusion of realism now. It's starting to just see like maybe this might actually happen a little bit more in nature. So that's how you do that effect. You add some different separations. You don't make clear-cut lines, and that's what makes this painting really start to come alive. Here, I can even add some more here. Look at that. See, just fun, totally happening in nature. And this is where you get to have fun as an artist, just messing around and playing like this and creating just an awesome atmosphere. I'm going to go ahead and just definitely make a little bit of red going this way. Okay. And like maybe just even just kind of breaking up this a little bit, and then I'm going for it. I'm like saying, hey, you know what, whatever, this is completely original to me. I have never done anything like this as far as like the colors go and trying to make it look like a flag. But you can see it is starting to work. It's starting to fade a little bit more together, and that's what it's all about, is just figuring out those ways and those motions. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take another, medium-sized large brush, and then it's flat, and I'm going to go ahead and put some white on there because I'm not going to leave this canvas just staying stale and white. All right, and I'm going to add some white in between. And I'm going to bring some of that white into my light blue as well, breaking up that. Now look at this. It is massively changing, and I love that we are just playing around with this painting. All right, got some white kind of in between here. It might turn a little bit of pink on you, so watch out for that. Watch out for some of the reds. I'm kind of going in between as best I can. And then I'm going to go ahead and add a few more lights, kind of whites here, just making the clouds and the blue look good as well. Again, trying to make it look like it is actually just happened to happen in nature. Okay, flat brush, just going, letting it dry very, very quickly. Boom. Whew, it's coming together. Now comes my exciting parts, because it's all the stuff that I teach you on some of the other episodes. So I love that we did this. I'm gonna add some more sparkle eventually to the stars in the background as well. All right, so we're back up close now, and I've got my small flat brush. And all I'm doing is, like I've done before, I'm taking my napkin, taking that and crunching my bristles so I can make some good clean lines. I got paint on there, and it's just crunching and bringing those bristles closer together. So that's a really cool, fun step. I'm just gonna go ahead and put a little bit of white back on my brush, and let's see if we can make little lines happening right, and just changing, maybe adding that little bit of sparkle that we want on these stars. You can see, look at just really just a tiny little touch will make such an impact on there. All right, you can just make one big little sparkle here. You can make little X's, whatever you want. But that's kind of how you do it, is just a little bit of plain white and just let it just kind of roll right off your brush. We got that big star out of the way at first. You know, in fact, you know, don't worry if you made a boo-boo and, you know, you need to go back and paint it blue again, whatever, you can do that. But take a look, we've got some sparkle now. All right, we're kind of trying to get that star effect, so it's working. It's looking good. All right, and it's still drying, so that's what's so awesome about it. I'm gonna go ahead and add some cool landscape and stuff here. I'm gonna bring it even up close and just hold the canvas while I'm actually doing the painting at times too, because I wanted you to see it a little bit better with those natural movements and everything. So I'm just taking my medium-sized brush, another flat one, and just putting some plain blue on that brush. And I am actually painting right here, starting to do a mountaintop. So I'm making the tops of some triangles right there. I'm just making a nice little blue landscape. Again, I'm just gonna just stick with this awesome, you know, still want a lot of that red to show down below, but I wanna make my fun landscape too. All right, so this maybe we'll make a tall peak here. And it's all different. Each land is different. So just know that. Don't worry about any kind of, you know, making mistakes or anything like that. It's always so different. And you want good texture too as you're doing this step. Just because you've got some of that blue mixing in with the purple at the top there. But you can see I'm just adding a nice bit of land. And I'm going all the way across with my land and my little mountains here, kind of going up a little bit, veering up here. And let's bring some more of that blue down real quick. No perfection needed at all, just trying to start with the basics there. Okay. So really, essentially, I don't want to go too much into shadowing, so we're going to use a lot of this stuff that we already have together. We'll add more highlights, I think, in this one than shadows. So I'm going to go ahead and make some light blue then with that same brush I was using. You can switch over to your smaller one if you prefer, but I'm just going to go ahead and just keep on going live with this, and I'm going to add some blue into some of my white, making a nice powdery light blue. Check that out. I've got a powdery light blue just coming together. And everybody's light blue is going to be different, so don't worry, it's not a contest. So we're going to go ahead and I'm going to pick this bad boy up. This one's heavy because I already have a lot of layers of gesso on it. But I'm going to go ahead. Like I said, you can do this size brush, your medium brush, or you can switch to your small brush, whatever you feel, again, more comfortable with. Here's my small one. So I'm going to hold this up as best I can here. It is a little heavy, on the heavy side. So I'm going to take some of that powdery light blue that I made, put it on my small brush, and I'm going to we got to get our highlights going this way because that's where our light source is from. So I'm going to make some like little bitty tiger stripes, almost like breaking up some of that original blue. But look at that. You can see up close, I'm adding some streaks right there, changing it up. And you're gonna do that across your entire plane here. You're gonna try to at least give some kind of illusion of highlights and lowlights. Now your light source is probably from over here, you got your nighttime over here, so we can do a little bit of both. If we had a moon up here shining down, maybe we could, you know, brighten up that more with highlights, but for now we want more of our highlights coming from this side here. All right, now so you can see up close that I did add some highlights and different things to that effect. If I want these to be brighter, I can just even kind of break it up even more with plain white and add brighter highlights. So you can also do that. You can see some of those highlights just really brings these, you know, maybe, you know, mountains to life in the background. Just really just a pretty step. After we made that awesome sky, you got to kind of match it somehow with something else, but this does the trick, I think. Look at those highlights. There you go. Beautiful mountains in the background. Now for this, we're gonna go back into our silhouette mode. As you can see, we've got some beautiful bright color on there, but now we're gonna switch over to that silhouette, and I'm gonna get plain black on my plate. So I've got my plain black right up top there, you can see. So I've got red, white, and blue, and black. I'm gonna go ahead and take my medium-sized brush, and I'm gonna fill in the bottom part of this painting with plain black. Now the thing I love about doing the silhouettes is they're so impactful so quickly. Look at how dark and just totally different this makes this painting now. Adds such a different kind of feel and awesomeness to this painting. Look at the contrast now. All right, perfect. So again, I'm going back and forth, covering all of the sides there. All right, so I don't want the silhouette to look so just, that's it, even. So I'm gonna take some plain black on that same brush, and I'm gonna start adding maybe some different lands. I'm gonna do that by dabbing or blotting my brush and making more of a kind of silhouette feel, or I'm sorry, a realistic feel when I do this. I'm making this land a little uneven. It just looks so much better and more realistic once you do this simple little step. You can see that that horizon line is just so, you know, different now and uneven, and that helps so much with our painting. Okay, there's a pretty cool land right there, if I don't say so myself. We've got an awesome silhouette going. Now let's add some life to that silhouette. All right, it's tree time and I'm ready to have some fun with this. I've got my flat brush, small to medium will work. And I'm gonna go ahead and add a nice little stick right there going. A little bit thinner up top, and then as we go down, the trunk is a little bit thicker. All right, so I'm gonna come from a little bit of this top and just very lightly with my brush, just going sideways motion, just breaking up as I'm going in. Again, just barely touching this canvas. Making my texture and a nice little silhouette of a tree. And as I go further down, your branches can get further apart, closer together, whatever you want. You can start to see this tree come to life. Again, we started with our furthest thing back was our starry sky. Then we delved into getting those, like that sky nice and awesome with those streaks of sunset almost looking going through. Look at that. And then once you break it up, you can see these little bits coming through here, and it's just an epic, awesome thing to like witness. So I'm gonna go ahead and make another little tree right here. Sky. And you can switch brushes at any time. Whatever works best for you. But look at this. I just love that beautiful, beautiful color in the background popping out. Just amazing. And we're only using basic, simple colors too. That's what's even better. Okay, let's work on some going across the way now. They can be bigger, smaller, closer together, whatever you'd like. So now you see I've got more trees just going across. I've picked up a smaller brush just to make sure I can get little details and just add anything else that I want to add. A smaller brush does that. But as you can see, we've got these cool trees that are just so amazing, just going right over. And that's what art is all about, guys. I want you to make sure that you enjoy it and try something new. Try something a little bit out of your ordinary, all right? You'll be surprised how you can actually start picking things up once you learn how to do the right techniques, all right? So I want you to really try to make that a mission, to challenge yourself a little bit more and just say, whatever, if I make a mistake, no big deal. And I'm just gonna try to see how good you can start kind of getting more of that confidence in you, because it's out there. We just need to get it ready and just keep practicing. And that, my friends, is a painting.